Right now, somewhere in the world, a payment is being blocked. Not because the person did anything illegal, not because there was fraud, not because there was a mistake, but because a silent system decided it did not like the transaction. No warning, no explanation, no human conversation, just a message on a screen. Transaction declined. And your life pauses. Your rent, your food, your travel, your medical bill, your business, all frozen, with no one to call, no one to argue with, no one who can explain what happened. Most people think banks decide this. They think there's a person in an office pressing a button. That is wrong. Today, your money is filtered through something much bigger, something invisible, something automated, something that never sleeps. It is called the compliance layer. And almost nobody understands it. Every time you swipe a card, every time you send money, every time you click pay now, your transaction does not go directly to the other person. It passes through a digital maze, a network of risk systems, surveillance programs, scoring engines, behavior models, government watch lists, private databases, corporate blacklists, all checking you, all judging you, all deciding if you are allowed to proceed. In less than 1 second, this system was not created to help you. It was created to control risk, to control liability, to protect institutions, not people. The modern version began after September 11th, 2001. After the attacks, governments around the world passed massive financial surveillance laws. In the United States, the Patriot Act expanded bank monitoring. In Europe, similar anti-money laundering rules followed. Banks were forced to watch every transaction, every account, every customer, not manually, by building automated systems, by creating digital compliance layers. At first, they said it was about terrorism, then it was about drug money, then it was about fraud, then tax evasion, then sanctions, then political pressure, then social risk, then climate risk, then misinformation, then reputation. The list never stopped growing. Every new crisis added another filter, another rule, another algorithm, another invisible checkpoint. By the 2010s, your money was no longer just money. It became data. It became a profile. It became a behavior record. It became a risk score. In 2013, Edward Snowden revealed how governments collected mass data on citizens. Not only phone calls, not only emails, but financial metadata. Who paid who, when, where, how often, for what. Those records never disappeared. They were integrated, shared, analyzed, combined with private banking systems. In 2014, major banks began using machine learning to detect suspicious behavior, not crimes, behavior. If you changed spending patterns, if you traveled suddenly, if you sent money abroad, if you bought something unusual, if you received unexpected deposits, the system noticed. In 2018, China launched its social credit experiments. People lost access to transport and services based on digital behavior. The West laughed, but quietly built similar systems, just without one public score. Instead, hundreds of private ones. In 2020, during lockdowns, governments froze accounts of people accused of violating restrictions. In Canada, 2022, protesters had bank accounts frozen without court orders. Payment processors cut access. Banks complied. Platforms cooperated. No trial, no verdict, just system enforcement. That was not an exception. That was a preview. Because the compliance layer does not care about politics. It does not care about justice. It only cares about rules. And those rules are written by people you never meet, in offices you never see, for priorities you never agreed to. Your bank does not own the system. Visa, MasterCard, SWIFT, clearinghouses, regulators, risk vendors, analytics firms, data brokers, all participate. Your money travels through all of them, every time. Each one has veto power. Each one can stop you. Each one can label you risky, without telling you why. And once you are labeled, it follows you. Across banks, across platforms, across borders, a silent reputation, a hidden profile, a digital shadow. This is why people suddenly lose access to accounts. This is why businesses get shut down overnight. This is why charities get frozen. This is why journalists get blocked. This is why normal people get locked out. And nobody explains anything, because the system does not explain. It enforces, and it never forgets. Most people still think money equals freedom. They think as long as they have funds, they are safe. That belief is outdated. Your money only works as long as the system approves you. The moment it does not, you are invisible. You can have thousands, millions. Does not matter. If the layer says no, you are done. And here is the most dangerous part. You never know when you cross the line. There is no warning sign, no notification, no threshold. One day you are normal. The next day, you are restricted. This is the compliance layer, the real gatekeeper of modern life. And it is growing stronger every year. The compliance layer does not just watch what you do. It builds a model of who you are, a digital character profile, a prediction of your future behavior. Every purchase adds a data point. Every transfer updates the file. Every missed payment lowers a score. Every unusual action raises a flag. This is not science fiction. It is how modern finance operates. In the 1990s, banks relied on human auditors. Teams of people reviewing transactions. Slow, expensive, limited. By the early 2000s, that model collapsed. Too much data, too many users, too many payments. So banks turned to automation. Companies like FICO expanded credit scoring. Firms like Experian and Equifax built massive data warehouses. Risk vendors like LexisNexis and Refinitiv began selling behavioral intelligence. These companies did not just collect information. They interpreted it. They created probability models. They ranked people. They predicted risk. By 2010, most large banks no longer trusted human judgment. They trusted algorithms. If the system said someone was risky, employees obeyed, even when it made no sense, even when it hurt customers, even when it destroyed lives, because compliance failure meant fines. In 2012, HSBC paid nearly $2 billion for failing to monitor money laundering. In 2014, BNP Paribas paid almost $9 billion for violating sanctions. In 2015, Deutsche Bank was fined for weak controls. Every major bank was punished. The message was clear: control everything, monitor everyone, or pay the price. After that, banks became paranoid. They built layers on top of layers, verification on top of verification, scoring on top of scoring. No system was enough. They needed redundancy. They needed overkill. That is when false positives exploded. People were flagged for no reason. Accounts were frozen without explanation. Businesses lost access overnight. Charities were blocked. Immigrants were targeted. Travelers were questioned. Small companies collapsed, all because a model detected something unusual. Not illegal, unusual. The system hates unpredictability. It prefers patterns, routine, repetition, consistency. The more predictable you are, the safer you appear. The more creative your life becomes, the riskier you look. Move to a new city. Raise suspicion. Change jobs. Raise suspicion. Send money abroad. Raise suspicion. Start a business. Raise suspicion. Receive large payments. Raise suspicion. Donate to causes. Raise suspicion. Buy something controversial. Raise suspicion. Everything is interpreted. Nothing is neutral. In 2017, PayPal shut down accounts of political activists. In 2019, banks closed accounts of cryptocurrency businesses. In 2020, crowdfunding platforms froze protest donations. In 2021, financial services blocked media organizations. In 2022, trucker protest accounts were frozen in Canada. In 2023, payment processors restricted independent journalists. Different countries, different reasons. Same system. Compliance enforcement, no court, no hearing, no appeal. Just a notice. Sometimes not even that. Behind every decision is a chain of software, transaction monitoring systems, customer due diligence platforms, sanction screening tools, behavior analytics engines, reputation databases, risk aggregators. Each one scores you. Each one feeds the others. Each one amplifies mistakes. If one system flags you, others copy it. If one database lists you, it spreads. You become contaminated. A digital leper. Nobody wants responsibility. Every institution prefers to overblock than underblock, because underblocking risks punishment. Overblocking only hurts customers. And customers have no leverage. Try calling your bank after a freeze. You get scripts. We cannot disclose. This is automated. We are reviewing. Please wait. No timeline, no guarantee, no accountability. Employees often do not know the reason either. They see the same screen you do. Red, blocked, restricted. System decision. This is deliberate. Opacity protects the system. If you knew the rules, you could adapt. If you could appeal, you could resist. So they keep it hidden. In 2018, researchers at MIT showed that financial risk models regularly misclassified minorities and immigrants. In 2020, the Federal Reserve admitted that automated systems created exclusion. In 2022, European regulators warned about algorithmic bias. Nothing changed, because control matters more than fairness. Speed matters more than justice. Stability matters more than individuals. The compliance layer exists to protect institutions from collapse, not to protect your freedom. It is a firewall between risk and profit, between regulators and banks, between power and people, and it grows stronger after every crisis, every crash, every scandal, every war, every panic. Each event justifies more monitoring, more surveillance, more automation, more filters. The system never shrinks, it only expands. And once you are inside it, you never leave. Your entire financial life becomes one continuous evaluation. Forever. The compliance layer becomes truly powerful when money stops being physical, when cash disappears, when every transaction becomes digital, when every exchange leaves a record. For most of history, people could step outside systems. They could hold coins, hide bills, trade privately, move value without permission. That escape valve protected freedom. It limited control. It gave people leverage. In ancient Rome, silver coins circulated outside state oversight. In medieval Europe, merchants used private bills of exchange. In 19th century America, people stored gold and paper notes at home. Even during the Great Depression, families hid cash under floors. During wars, people traded in cigarettes and commodities. During hyperinflation, they used foreign currencies. Always, there was an alternative, a way out. Digital money removes that. Every payment is recorded. Every transfer is logged. Every account is linked. Every wallet is traceable. Every transaction is reversible. Nothing disappears. Nothing escapes. Central banks understand this. That is why they are developing digital currencies, CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. China launched its digital yuan trials in 2020. The European Central Bank is preparing a digital euro. The Federal Reserve is researching a digital dollar. The Bank of England is building digital infrastructure. They claim it is about efficiency, about convenience, about modernization. But the architecture tells the truth. Programmable money, time limits, spending restrictions, geographic controls, behavior conditions, real-time monitoring, instant freezing. In 2022, China used digital currency to restrict protesters. In 2023, Nigerian cash withdrawals were limited to force adoption. In 2024, pilot programs tested expiration features. This is not theory, it is happening. When money becomes software, rules become code, and code does not negotiate. The compliance layer becomes embedded in currency itself. No bank approval needed, no platform intervention. The money enforces the rules automatically. Spend too much, blocked, buy wrong category, denied, travel to wrong region, disabled, support, wrong cause, restricted, miscompliance check, frozen. All without humans, without courts, without debate, just execution. This is the ultimate evolution of control. A system where permission is built into money, where risk profiles determine access, where behavior shapes spending power, where reputation becomes currency, where obedience becomes liquidity, and resistance becomes poverty. Most people do not see this coming because it arrives quietly through apps, through updates, through incentives, through rewards, through convenience, cashless bonuses, faster refunds, lower fees, digital discounts, smart wallets, instant payments. People trade freedom for speed, privacy for comfort, autonomy for simplicity. They do it willingly until it is gone. Then it is too late. Once the infrastructure exists, it never disappears. Once control is possible, it will be used. History proves this. Emergency powers never expire. Surveillance never retreats. Restrictions never reverse. They normalize, they integrate, they become background. In 1971, when the United States left the gold standard, they said it was temporary. It never returned. In 2001, surveillance laws were called emergency measures. They became permanent. In 2008, financial bailouts were described as one-time events. They became policy. In 2020, lockdown powers were temporary. Many remain. Every crisis expands control. Every recovery keeps it. The compliance layer is the financial version of this pattern. A permanent emergency system. Always active, always watching, always judging, always deciding. And most people never question it until it touches them, until their card fails, until their account locks, until their business collapses, until their savings disappear, until their access is gone. That is when they realize they never owned their money. They were borrowing permission from a machine, from a network, from rules they never saw, from people they never elected, from systems they never agreed to. This channel exists to make those systems visible, to explain what they hide, to expose what they normalize, to help you see the structure behind everyday life. If this video gave you clarity, if it made you think differently, if it helped you understand the world you live in, then stay with us. Subscribe, not for entertainment, but for awareness. Because in a system built on silence, understanding is power. And people who understand early are never the ones left behind.